Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
Just starting the YouTube broadcast. I had to restart my browser. And I will make you a co-host.
Okay.
And then I'll just wait like maybe 3 or 4 minutes before starting to let people in.
How many minutes?
Oh, I don't know, like maybe like 3 minutes until the meeting starts.
Okay, and then you just want me to help you let them in?
Yeah, either that, I can do that, or yeah, and then I just like to do that because there's a lot of chatter sometimes, so it's a little distracting to get the meeting going. But
okay, so then you'll just let them in, and then I'll just keep an eye on them.
Yeah, thank you. And if in the middle of the meeting, like someone else joins, just keep an eye out. I know that happens from time to time, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like we have anyone waiting yet, though. For whatever reason, the CMAC members like to sign on pretty early, but some of them do. But the TAC members, they kind of wait a little while until it gets closer. So I see Rebecca's waiting, but I'll just gonna wait, let her in.
Okay.
Did everything go okay for you yesterday, Jackie? As far as the way the meeting was run, did you have any issues?
No, everything went fine, and I was able to maneuver things and check the chats and everything.
And your recording, you got your recording okay?
I didn't play it, but it did place it. I placed it in the folder. I'll check it today.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind recording the meeting again once we get started, I think that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, I guess I'm going to start letting people in here. It's getting close to time. Morning, everyone. We're going to give it just a couple more minutes. Looks like some people are still filing in. And I don't believe we currently have a chairperson. So we'll hold off just a few more minutes. I see there's an iPhone on the phone call. Can whoever is the iPhone, can you please identify yourself?
Yeah, Dan, that's me, David Carr.
David Carr. Thanks, David.
Can you see me?
I can.
Yeah, I'm working at home. I'm gonna go ahead. Well, anyway, I'm working at home today.
No worries. I was just looking for a chairperson, so just making sure that was not you. Going to give a few more minutes. I know Jeff Borkard had a conflict this morning. So I did speak earlier with Julie Olander as the vice chair to see if she could run the meeting. I am not seeing her yet on the call. I do see Mitch. Mitch Fink. Mitch, would you be comfortable kind of chairing the meeting if Julie isn't able to make it this morning?
I can try. I would need some guidance, some help.
No worries. I can assist with that.
Yeah, whatever you need to do. So,
Okay.
like I said, just let me know what I need to move through, and I'll be happy to give it my best go.
Excellent. And do you have the agenda in front of you?
I can load it up here.
Okay. Alternatively, if there's someone from the city of Reno that would like to jump in, I'm happy to have any volunteers.
Okay. Well, I have the agenda up, so whatever you decide.
Great. Thanks, Mitch. We'll just go with that. If Julie steps in, she can kind of take over the duties. It is about 2 minutes after 9. So I think I'll go ahead and do a roll call for the TAC, see if we have a quorum here. I'll just pull up my roster. So I believe, I'm just going to read from the top down. Jillian Emery, I believe you're in for Kevin Berry, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Jillian Emery for NDOT. We have Kurt Dietrich, City of Reno.
Present.
Okay. About Amber Sosa, City of Sparks.
Good morning.
Hi, Amber. Mitch Fink, Washoe County.
Present.
Okay. Daniel Inouye, Health District.
Present.
Scott Nebeski with Reno Sparks Indian County. I believe I received an email from him saying he wouldn't be able to attend this morning. Is there anyone else on the line for Reno Sparks Indian County? Okay, seeing none. Alyssa Butterfield with Reno Tahoe Airport Authority.
Good morning. I'm on.
Hi, Alyssa. About Tara Smaltz, NDOT, District 2. Looks like Tara is here. I see that she's trying to connect, so might just be a delay. But I do see her name there for the record. Jeff Borkart is not present this morning. Is there anyone sitting in for Jeff from City of Reno? Okay, not seeing anyone else. How about Ian Crittenden with City of Sparks?
Present.
Okay. Still not seeing Julie Olander. Okay. Chris Tolley, TMRPA.
Good morning here.
Sandy Freund with Washington County School District.
Morning. I'm here.
Morning.
I had to unmute. Thanks.
No worries. Enos Hahn, FHWA. I'm not seeing Enos. But fortunately, we do have enough for a quorum. Before we get started here, I just want to, for the record, acknowledge any guests as well. I guess I'll start with myself, Dan Dengis, Planning Manager, RTC. I see Jacqueline Maldonado, RTC. Going down the line, Bill Thomas, RTC. Dale Keller, RTC. Oh, and I do see Elaine Weisman. Elaine, you're in for the Reno Sparks Indian Colony, correct?
Yes, good morning. That's correct.
Okay, thanks, Elaine. David Carr, RTC. Jim Gee, RTC. Maria Paz Fernandez, RTC. Mark Maloney, RTC. Rebecca Capular, RTC. I do see Chris Cobb, also with the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority. Sarah Going, RTC. Stephanie Haddock, RTC. Shuan Wong, RTC. I do see one phone number, but I believe that's Jackie. Is there anyone I missed? Okay, hearing none. I think we are all accounted for. I'm going to turn it over to Mitchell Fink with Washoe County, who's going to chair the meeting this morning. Mitch, if you would call the meeting to order and just state the time. And there's a couple reminders also. If everyone could please have their microphones muted unless speaking. If you do make a motion, please state your name. And Mr. Chair, Mitch, if you would please, when a motion and a second is made, just repeat for the record who made the motion and the second before taking roll call vote. And other than that, I think we're ready to go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to RTC's TAC Committee meeting. We're calling the Thursday, November 5th meeting to order. And for item number 1, approval of the agenda for possible action.
Chris Tolley, Team RPA, move to approve the November 5th, 2020 meeting agenda.
Kurt Dietrich, City of Reno, second.
Okay, so Chris Tolley approved the agenda, and Kurt Dietrich with City of Reno second the agenda, approval of the agenda. Do I hear an aye for approval in the committee?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? And item number 1, approval of the agenda. Item number 2, public comment. Is there any public comment?
Dan Dengis, Planning Manager, we did not receive any public comment.
Do we need to have a motion on this for acceptance?
No, we can move on to the next
Okay.
item.
All right.
Thanks.
No public comment. So moving on to item number 3, approval of the October 1st, 2020 meeting minutes. Do I hear acceptance for approval?
Kurt Dietrich, City of Reno, move to approve.
Second?
Chris Tolley, Team RPA, second that.
Okay. Approval for the meeting was completed by Kurt Dietrich, City of Reno, and seconded by Chris Tolley. Do I hear ayes for approval?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any nays? Okay, item number 3, approval of the October 1st, 2020 meeting minutes. Item number 4, acknowledge receipt of report on the Center Street Multimodal Improvements Project for possible action.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to turn this over to Maria Paz Fernandez, the project manager, and she's going to give a brief presentation.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So my name is Maria Paz Fernandez, and I am the project manager for the Center Street Multimodal Improvements Project. The project goals, the main two goals are safety and connectivity. We're proposing a high quality bike connection between University and Midtown. We recognize there is a gap in the core cycling network. Along with that cycle track, we're proposing corrective maintenance in the pavement, in the asphalt pavement, and sidewalk reconstruction. That way we can diversify options for transportation along the corridor. What is the cycle track? This is an excerpt from NACTO. This is a two-way cycle track, just the same that we're proposing for Center Street. A two-way cycle track is a protected bicycle facility that is separated from both vehicle and pedestrian traffic. As you can see, there is a buffer, I'm sorry. There's a buffer between the travel lane and the cycle track, and between the cycle track and the sidewalk, it is separated by the curb. For the Center Street Multimodal Project, the limits are Virginia Street all the way to 9th Street by the University. However, the cycle track is proposed to start at Moran Street, right here, all the way to 9th Street. At Moran, we're proposing sharrows to connect to Virginia Street and sharrows to connect to Holcomb. Another proposal that we're hoping to be successful with is the connection from Center Street at Moran to Virginia Street via a bike lane, which will be only southbound, and then northbound sharrows. For pavement rehabilitation, we're proposing to start north of the Truckee River all the way to 9th Street by the University, and then sidewalk replacement will be between 5th and 9th. Sorry. And this is a rendering of the proposed concept. This is the intersection of 2nd Street at Center. You can see the cycle track right here. And just to get into a little bit of details, this section is between 9th and Maple. And you can see the cycle track is on the west side, is right here. Currently, there is a southbound lane for vehicles to access the freeway. However, we're proposing to replace that southbound lane and use it as the cycle track. And that way we won't lose capacity for the northbound lane as existing. Another section that is important to note is Commercial Road and 1st Street right here. Many stakeholders from the CalNEVA and Harris, they were concerned about their loading zones, and we're able to preserve those. As well, right here, we have the fire department parking and the bus stop across the street. And then this section is from Stewart to Thoma Street. The reason why I chose this section is because Moran is in the middle, and then you can see the beginning or the end of the cycle track right here. And then the connection, the sharrow to Holcomb, the sharrow to Virginia Street, the southbound bike lane to Virginia Street, and the northbound sharrow that will share the road with the vehicle. We were able to preserve the parking on this area. And then for traffic operations, just a high-level overview. We will be giving up some sections. We will be, how can I say it? I don't want to say losing a lane, but we are losing a lane. However, we're not losing any capacity. We're still at, we still meet City of Reno standards capacity, even though like in some sections we're losing a lane. And then the on-street parking, In the north end of the project, we'll be losing some parking. However, this is very close to the University of Nevada, and they're proposing some parking garages and residential development on this area. This was a very critical area because it's midtown, and we don't want to lose any parking spaces. However, from Moran to, I think it's like, I cannot even see the street. We're losing few parking spaces. Many of you might remember that this project started as a Center Street cycle track, and it was purely going to be a cycle track that started at Cheney Street all the way to 9th. However, we had to negotiate some terms, and I am actually very excited that this project is not just a cycle track, it's also going to rehabilitate the road, and we're going to reconstruct some sidewalks. So it's going to benefit more people in the community. And as far as the project timeline, last month we started with a preliminary design. So we expect 30% design next spring in 2021, final design in the fall of 2022, and then construction will be in the year 2023. Spring, we will have a bid and contractor selection, and then start construction at the summer of the year 2023. And that's all I have for now. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My email, my phone number is right here, or right now if you have any other comments that you want to provide to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Does anybody have any questions, comments for Maria? Okay, no questions, comments for Maria. Can I get a motion to acknowledge receipt of the report on the Center Street Multimodal Improvements Project?
I move to accept. Julie Olander. Sorry, I'm late.
Thank you, Julie. Any seconds? Can we get a second for the motion?
There was a second. Chris Tully, Team RPA, and I'll second that.
Thank you, Chris. Acknowledge receipt of a report on Center Street multimodal projects was accepted by Julie Olander, Washoe County, and seconded by Chris Tully. Can I get a motion to, or does a motion carry?
Aye. If you're asking for vote.
Oh, yes, for votes, please.
Aye.
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 Anyone disagree? The motion carries. Moving to item number 5, the recommendation of approval for the proposed amendment number 3 to the fiscal year 2020-24 Regional Transportation Improvement Plan, the RTIP.
Thank you, Mitch. This is Dan Denges, RTC. Staff is proposing an amendment. This would be the third amendment to our federal fiscal year 2020-2024 Regional Transportation Improvement Program. There's a typo in the staff report. My apologies. That should really read program instead of plan. But at any rate, this is what we refer to as the RTIP. Kind of the impetus for this proposed amendment is there's some scope changes to a couple projects. Probably first and foremost, that being the Lemon Drive widening project. It's currently listed as one project. There's kind of two sections between US 395 interchange to, Military. And then the second section is from Fleetwood Drive up to Chickadee. So there is a gap kind of between Military and Fleetwood Drive. And so just looking at, as we're starting to get into kind of preliminary design and analysis, there are kind of different characteristics to the roadway. So decision was made to kind of break these projects out into two separate projects. And that does require an amendment to the RTIP because not only the scope change, but also some funding changes as well. Another change that RTC is pursuing is to move some funding off of our building and facilities program. This is FTA, Federal Transit Administration funding, and reallocate some of that to development of a bus rapid transit station on Virginia Street across from the Peppermill. And then there are a couple kind of late additions. I apologize, we got some additional projects from NDOT after the agendas went out, but they are looking to also add some funding changes to US 395 improvements. These are basically interchange improvements between Golden Valley and Stead, and constructing a new southbound travel lane with separated ramps at Panther Valley, and just some resurfacing on 395 itself. And so we wanted to include those in our amendment as well. Anytime we do an amendment, does require a formal amendment, requires public comment period. So we try to be efficient and implement any other project changes along with that amendment as we can. So it does require a public comment period per RTC's public participation plan. We do have a 21-day public comment period that started on October 30th, and that will run through November 19th. And then this will be brought before the RTC board at their meeting on November 20th as a public hearing, at which time, if any comments are received, we will share with the board before looking for final approval. So if there's any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we're looking for a recommendation of approval of the amendments from the TAC today.
Thank you, Dan. Does anybody have any questions for Dan?
This is Julie Olander. I recommend approval.
Jillian Emery, NDOT, second.
Thank you. Julie Olander recommended motion for approval. And sorry, who seconded?
Jillian Emery, NDOT, filling in for Kevin Berry.
Seconded. Can we get a vote for approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any disapproval? Motion carries. Item number, sorry, here, let me get back on my agenda. So item number 7, development updates. City of Reno?
Sorry, Mitch, sorry to interrupt. I think we missed item 6.
Oh, item 6. Oh, sorry. Okay, item number 6, acknowledge receipt of a report on the 2050 Regional Transportation Plan. That's what we just, that's what you just did the report on, correct? Oh, no, sorry. Okay, item number 6, acknowledge receipt of a report on the 2050 Regional Transportation Plan, preliminary evaluation of projects for possible action.
Hi, this is Amy Cummings with RTC, and I'm working on the evaluation of all the projects, but I did want to share with you what we have for our downtown circulation study. We do have some preliminary recommendations coming out of that. Can everyone see the slides?
We see the presenter's view.
Oh, okay. Don't know how to change that.
You might have to unshare, and then when you go to share, select the actual slide versus the presenter's view.
All right, I can just share it in this view.
Looks good.
Okay, maybe slightly smaller, but hopefully that still works. We have been working on our downtown circulation study as a component of the regional transportation plan. Our key vision here is to look for transportation investments to help create a strong and vibrant downtown and really focus on safety and connectivity. We started with the Downtown Reno Action Plan as a base, and this plan, completed a few years ago, emphasized supporting walking, biking, and transit connectivity to connect UNR to downtown as well as the surrounding neighborhoods. So that's been part of our focus. In terms of existing conditions, we have a great interconnected grid street network to work with here. That gives us a lot of opportunities. Today, our traffic volumes are not that high, so we are planning for growth. We're anticipating increased traffic over the coming 20 years, but that does give us some opportunities. The concerns that we have primarily right now are safety. We've had some high crash corridors. We've had a number of fatalities, including pedestrian fatalities. And we also have very limited bicycle connectivity. So those are all things we are working on. This graphic shows a map of the overall area, and I'm going to walk through some of these corridors individually. You can see just from the big picture, we're looking at kind of primary bicycle connections on Center Street, which you just heard about, and Vine, and then our primary east-west for bicycles on 5th Street and 3rd. So we'll start with West 5th. This is one of those high crash corridors in downtown. We have pretty high speeds. We've had a number of fatalities. So we want to look at, and the traffic volumes are pretty low. So we think this is a great candidate for a reconfiguration that adds the center turn lane. So cars can pull out of that flow of traffic when they want to turn left, and then have room for bicycle lanes in each direction and keep our on-street parking. West 4th is another high crash corridor. On this one, we do anticipate travel demand warranting keeping all 4 travel lanes. So we'll really be focusing on our intersections and our crosswalks and our bus stops. We see this as a future extension of the Lincoln line. That's going to take a number of years to put into place. In the short term, we see an opportunity to upgrade our fixed route ride stations, focus on our ADA accessibility around those stations, and have an upgraded station or bus stop for ride that just has a higher aesthetic than some of our typical stations. And I mentioned our east-west connectivity for bikes. We think 3rd Street is a great option. Again, very little traffic, a lot of room to work with. We see some options here for a protected bike facility, which could be a multi-use path. It could be more of a cycle track. It could be a bike lane. We are going to need to go into some further detail to look at what those options are. We already talked about Center Street. So again, this is connecting UNR to Midtown to downtown, right through the heart of downtown Reno. Right now, there's no good way to get through that corridor if you're on a bike. And on Vine Street, this is over on the west side of downtown. Very little traffic again, so we're looking at a few different options here. We could do, just like I was talking about on 5th Street, with adding the center turn lane and the bike lanes and keep parking on both sides of the street. Or if it's determined that parking is only needed on one side of the street, that gives us a little more room to work with, and we could have a protected bike lane or buffered bike lane. The Vine Street Bridge is another area where we're looking at a few different options. The basic option would be striping in some bike lanes. It would be a little bit narrow because the bridge space is kind of tight. We have looked at converting it to bicycle pedestrian only, but I think there might be some concerns about safety in terms of eyes on the street. So another option is to convert it to southbound only, so that it kind of alleviates some of the confusion with the northbound traffic coming up to this northern intersection at the top of that bridge, but still provide southbound travel. And you would have room for, a buffered or protected bike facility so that the folks in the neighborhoods up there would then have a direct and much safer option to get into downtown and down to Idlewild Park ultimately. And this graphic shows you what we're looking at around Idlewild, that southern kind of southwest part of downtown. We're looking at 2 connection options across the Truckee. there's been the suggestion to look at a new pedestrian bicycle only bridge here near Dickerson Road, as well as upgrading the Booth Street Bridge to have a higher order of bicycle and pedestrian amenities. And of course, there's improvements needed at Booth Street for flood purposes as well. So we think we could coordinate those purposes and then have a network of bike lanes or bike boulevards to provide access to those. East 6th Street is another one of those high crash corridors where we're going to be looking at some safety improvements. And we've been hearing about the need for more parking in the downtown area, so we're going to be looking at some options there. We're about to launch in the next week or so a virtual public meeting with this information so we can get broader community feedback. So we'll have some time to make updates and then incorporate it into the regional transportation plan. Of course, following that, we would launch into more specific corridor level analysis. We're not going to be able to solve all those design questions as part of the RTP, but this will set the stage for future study. So with that, thank you, and welcome any questions or comments that you have for us.
Thank you, Amy. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Amy for her presentation? Okay, thank you again, Amy. May I get a motion to acknowledge receipt of report on the 2050 Regional Transportation Plan, the Transportation Preliminary Evaluation of Projects?
Chris Tolley, TMRPA, so moved.
May I get a second?
Julie Olander, second.
And may I get a vote?
Aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously with Chris Tolley providing the motion and Julie Olander seconding. Moving on to item number 7, development updates. City of Reno.
Kurt Dietrich, Reno. I'm not sure if there's anyone from our community development online, but I do not have any development update.
City of Sparks.
Ian Crittenden, City of Sparks. I'm not aware of anything. I don't know if Amber Sosa's, she's still here. I don't know if she has anything she wanted to do.
No, I don't have anything at this time. Thanks.
Washoe County.
Julie Olander, I have nothing to offer.
Okay. Reno Tahoe Airport Authority.
We don't have any development updates. Thank you.
How about FHWA? Anybody? Okay.
I believe we have a representative on the line.
Okay. Air quality management.
Good morning. Nothing to add this morning.
How about NDOT?
This is Jillian. Nothing right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Washoe County School District.
Hi, good morning. This is Sandy. No, nothing really to add other than we're able to sell the rest of the RIF credits this year in December.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Reno Sparks Indian Colony?
No, nothing to add at this point.
And could you please state your name for the record?
This is Elaine Wiseman.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thanks.
Any other member items that we didn't cover?
Chris Tolley, Team RPA, sorry about that. The draft 2020 consensus forecast will be going to the Regional Planning Commission at their November 12th meeting for adoption, and then would subsequently be probably in the December meetings adopted into the regional plan by the Regional Planning Governing Board. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, moving on to item number 9. Or sorry, item number 8, member items. City of Reno.
Yeah, just have a few items to update. We did have a traffic signal knockdown at Keystone 2nd a couple weeks ago. which prompted a temporary signal trail at that location. New signal pole foundation is complete and the base is currently curing. We expect to stand the new pole next week. Our traffic signal on-call contractor is informing that we have a couple more nights left for the signal repainting and relamping of state traffic signals in which we maintain. After completion, our contractor will move on to the Wells Avenue street lighting relamping. And then lastly, we received the RFB and speed feedback radar unit order as part of the TA set-aside program. We're currently coordinating with in-house forces to install. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Reno Tahoe Airport Authority?
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Nothing. Thank you. Could you state your name, please, for the record?
Sure. This is Alyssa Butterfield from the Airport Authority.
Thank you. City of Sparks?
This is Amber Sosa. I don't have anything at this time.
Thank you, Amber. FHWA? Okay. Washoe County, we don't have anything right now to add. This is a Mitch Fink, Washoe County. Air Quality Management.
Good morning. This is Daniel Inoue. Nothing to add this morning.
Thank you, Daniel. And NDOT.
Morning. This is Tara Smaltz with NDOT District 2. Just some minor updates regarding the I-80, 580, 395 interchange project, or also known as the SBX project. So starting next week, we'll be reopening lanes in the northbound direction. I'm sure everyone has observed quite a bit of backup. So hopefully that'll be alleviated. And then later in November should be opening up to full lanes in the northbound direction. So for the rest of the year, northbound will remain opened. Some things you may start observing is in the southbound direction, 580, especially for the I-80 eastbound to 580 southbound, just some shoulder work occurring in that area. And then ongoing projects include McCarran. Those are updates on my end.
Okay, thank you, Tara. TMRPA.
Chris Tolley, Team RPA again. Nothing additional. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Washoe County School District.
It's Sandy Freund again. No, nothing to add as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Sandy. And Reno Sparks Indian Colony. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments? Moving on to item number 9, agenda items for future TAC meetings. Does anybody have any agenda items that they would like to see added? Okay, Dan, do we need to do a motion on agenda items, or can we move on?
No, that's okay. But thank you. And if anyone has any suggestions, just feel free to reach out to me via email or phone call, and we'll get it on for next month.
Okay. Item number 10. Is there any RTC staff items?
I do have one, Mitch. I just wanted to put it out there that next Wednesday, which is Veterans Day, RTC will be offering free transit rides on all our transit services. And I will turn it over to any other my RTC colleagues.
Hi, Dan. Jim Gee, Manager of Service Planning and Innovation here at RTC. I have one update, and that is that the RTC Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan that has been brought before this committee over the last few months is now in a draft final report form. And that draft final report will be sent by email to all the members of this committee for their review and input. We will be having public comments over the next few weeks, next 21 days. But if you have any comments, please give them to myself or Dan, and we'll make sure they get incorporated into the report.
Thank you, Jim.
Good morning, Rebecca Capular for the record, RTC Planning. I just wanted to give a quick update on the Vision Zero Dusk to Dawn NV campaign. We launched a statewide campaign in conjunction with Las Vegas, moving towards the time change, which was November 1st. Posters are up in a lot of businesses within the Midtown corridor and downtown Sparks. We had volunteers from the task force walk and give out the posters along with reflective wrist slappers that NDOT donated to us to give to their customers. We distributed 2,400 wrist slappers. And in addition to those areas, we also collaborated with the Hopes Clinic, the Children's Cabinet, the Eddie House, and the Downtown Ambassadors and the VA, and got those out to that population as well, trying to let drivers and pedestrians be aware that it's getting dark earlier, a lot more darkness, and in the state, 80% of our pedestrian fatalities and serious injuries occur when it's dark. We do have a video that we're very proud of. It was done by the City of Sparks and RTC, and we have Archie from the Reno Aces and Truckee from the 1868 soccer team, the UNR cheerleaders, and Safe Routes to School. It's only about 45 seconds, but I put a link to it in the chat box. Please share it on your social media. RTC's been sharing it on our social media, and I know a lot of different Vision Zero partners have also. And if you have any questions on the Vision Zero outreach, it's on our website, www.visionzerotrekkiemeadows.com, or you can reach out to me. So thank you, and watch out for each other.
Thank you, Rebecca. Do we have any more RTC staff items? Okay, moving on to item number 11. Is there any public comment?
We have not received any other public comment.
Okay, no public comment. Moving on to item number 12. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
This is Amber Sosa, City of Sparks, so moved.
Chris Tolley, Team RPA, second.
Thank you. And can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. And adjournment is at 9:42 a.m.
Thanks, everyone, and thanks, Mitch, for filling in. I appreciate you stepping up on the spot like that.
Yeah, it was a little rough, but we got through it.
Thank you so much, Mitch. This is Julie Olander. I apologize for technical difficulties I was having. A little mind loss here. Thank you. I owe you.
We're okay. Thank you, everybody.